feeling?
Great.
Yeah. How many times have you done this race?
This is actually only my third time. We have such a great time with our group, with the whole group, with everybody, all the racers, that we've already made plans for next year, and this year isn't even over. I can't remember when it was, but it was a long time ago because it was the first stand-up board I made for Laird, and it was, I think it was 12'8" or something, huge, this big fat wide thing, so heavy that to move it in my glass shop in Maui um, took two guys, and we struggled, just to turn it over on the rack and everything. Laird was the only guy who could lift it when it was done, and then I kind of watched him from the side. Um, he was really into it, and you know,
Was that one of his first boards that he ever had?
yeah. And when he picked it up, he said, "Oh, this is great. I want 10 more just like it right away because I got all these friends that are really into it." And I just went, "Oh," and I called Ron House, and um, Ron was kind of more geared to make big boards like that, and he was in Southern California, so he started making all the boards for Laird, and he was the one that actually really got me going on doing it myself, because I went and tried it a couple times with Laird, and I was just hopeless. And Laird doesn't really give you any instruction or anything. But then I went down and was with Ron, actually Sparky Longley and I, Sparky from Rainbow Sandals, and Ron took us out to San Onofre, um, had boards for us, gave us some basic instruction, and that was it. From that day on, both of us were hooked. And in fact, the entire whole Battle of the Paddle concept came from the three of us, not from that first time, but over the next couple of years, having so much fun doing this stand-up paddling that, Sparky said, "Hey, we should have an event and kind of share this, with everybody else, because we're sure having a good time." And that was kind of the beginning of that event. Yeah, I still get on a surfboard, not that much, but because it's like stand-up is such a new thing and so challenging and so much fun that most of my time is spent, on a stand-up board. I've made quite a few stand-up paddle surfing boards, but I've only recently started making the downwind racing boards, and so we're gonna try out one of mine tomorrow. Hope it works. We used to make some pretty radical displacement hull paddle boards, and so I've incorporated a lot of what we used to do back then to the downwind boards that we're stand-up paddling on now. The wave sailing boards were surfboards in a way too, except you had horsepower, with the sail and harnessing the wind. In this case, they're really a surfboard, if you're able to, you're trying to harness the energy of the swell, the wind swell, the surface chop, and trying to surf our way across the channel. As windy as it was today, it'll be fantastic.
And you're going with Edmund
And Heather.
and Heather.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
So
We
how
got a
often
great
do you
team.
guys usually switch off, or?
We'll see. We're just kind of play it by ear. I mean, to begin with, Edmonds has to, all the starters have to go for 30 minutes before the escort boats are allowed to hook up, and probably go about 30 minutes each or so. Yeah. So, that it's nice with three people. That gives you an hour of rest, and, you can go really hard for 30 minutes and then rest for an hour and jump in and go again.
So how do you train for that? Do you actually do like training where you go hard for 30 minutes, take a break, and then go hard again, or
No,
do you
actually,
just
but maybe I'll consider that now, because until you said it, I never really thought of it like that. But, actually my training does kind of work out like that because in Central Oregon, all I have is a river. And so I paddle upstream on the river for, actually, my little course is only about 22 minutes. But I go as hard as I can against the current, and then I turn around and I go as hard as I can down current, and then I turn around again and do it a couple or 3 times. I discovered that too because I used to work for a German company, Windsurfing Chiemsee, in out of Munich, and windsurfing was huge back then. And they were windsurfing on a lake that hardly had any wind at all. I mean, I windsurfed there a bunch of times and went, you got to be kidding, this is, there was actually a tornado catamaran fleet there, and a tornado is a fast sailboat. And in the strongest wind, they were, kind of putting along. And on a sailboard, he never really had enough sail or enough board, and they were so enthusiastic about it, under those conditions. I think stand-up, I don't know if it's really hit there big yet, but I anticipate that it will at some point because, for as a fitness exercises, all body workout, you really can't beat it. I think the real appeal is relative to surfing, is that surfing is very difficult. I mean, I don't, think the best surfer in the world will dispute that. Stand-up paddle gives you almost, with the least amount of athleticism, will give you almost instant success at riding basically a big surfboard. And so you get this feeling like you get it surfing, but to get that feeling surfing requires a lot of time, a lot of work, and being able to weather a lot of frustration. In stand-up, like I said, it's almost, instantaneous. You get it right away, and the more you stick with it, the easier it is to get, and you get it all the time. Whether, you don't have to have waves. You can do it, like I said, on a lake, on a reservoir, on a river, anywhere. I mean, it's a very meditative endeavor, and, you do need to be right in the here and now, basically have that Zen state of mind, that very clear mind. I've often taken a downwind run. A thought will pop into your mind and it'll take your concentration, your focus away from what you're doing. Next thing you know, you're in the water. And so you got to get back on, refocus, and, really make yourself stay in the moment and not be thinking about something else. Well, I mean, that is ultimately what focusing does. It clears the mind, and that's a nice state to be in. And that's also another appeal about stand-up, because it really doesn't require a lot of effort to get in that state. You just got to go out and do it. I get up pretty early and get out, when everyone's still asleep, animals are still asleep, and
What time is that?
5:30, and put in 2 to 3 to maybe 4 hours of yoga. Yeah.
Every day?
Every day, yeah.
So tomorrow morning you're going to do that too?
Well, I don't have that much time, but I'll certainly, and since we've been here, there's been a lot of people that, a lot of them don't have a lot of yoga in their life, and so I've been holding these little kind of, low-key impromptu classes. And when I was going to college at UH, I think it was 1968, I went to a yoga class. I saw some girls looking at a bulletin board, and I went over to look at the girls really, but hey, what's up? What are you guys doing? And they go, oh, we're going to go to this yoga class, man. They kind of put me on the spot. You going? And I go, yeah, I'm going. When is it? So I ended up going, and it was really a turning point in my life because the instructor, like most yoga instructors, was this young, very calm, centered, just unbelievable little yogi. And right away I went, yeah, this is something that could fit really well with what I like to do, which was surfing, and it has. As you get older, you find that the benefits are even, greater than when you're young and naturally flexible and strong. Certainly didn't hurt. um, yeah, I think that it really, you're able to be very calm and have that Zen-like mind, state of mind uh, in those moments when,
When other people would freak out and go.
well, yeah, I mean, when the shit's coming down.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to be. Well, I got caught inside one time on a pretty big day and paddling, up and up, and I thought I was going to be able to bust through the top of the wave, and I actually got taken back over the falls on a second reef wave and held down for so long. I mean, I thought it was really a dangerous situation, and every time I tried to swim up, I got sucked back down. It was really quite a terrifying wipeout. And at one point I looked down and there was my body spinning around in the whitewater below me. From my yoga experience, I realized I was having an out-of-body experience at that moment, and I knew that I had to get back into my body. And I mean, moments before that, I was out of breath, I was weak, I was on the verge of giving up. But as soon as I felt myself re-enter my body, it was like all of a sudden I was powerful and calm and not panicking anymore. And I was held down a little more, and then finally the wave let me up. I swam up, and the next wave was just about to break on my head. I got one breath of air, and I mean, it was still the aftermath of that experience. I was in top shape, for that moment. And the next one took me down and held me down almost as long, but there was no panic, there was no worry. I just relaxed and let myself go with it. And when I felt the power of the wave starting to subside, I swam back up, and I was fine. And I swam in and got my board and paddled back out again. Through my interest of yoga, that got me through that situation. I knew what was happening. I knew what I had to do, and I did it, and everything turned out fine. I have no doubt Jamie Mitchell will prevail, like always. He had some equipment problems. It was so rough today coming over that his board was tied down on a rack on a boat, and it actually buckled, and so they did a last-minute repair. He does have a backup board, but like us, he had to do some ding repair today, and so he's got that working against him, but I don't think that'll make a difference. I think he'll be fine. And on the stand-up, I don't know, Kalama or one of the Kalamas. Yeah, little Conor has really been coming on lately, you know, and it's surprising because he's just, you know, a little shit. Before, but
It's amazing how hard he can
Conor was ever around. It is really amazing, and he's all the. I mean, just together, this surfing, season, you know, I think he's probably peaking all that stuff right now, or you know, at his age, hey, I don't think you peak. I think you get to that level, and you just can maintain that level.
he's just growing into his body. So.
Yeah. But I've known him since before he was a gleam in his daddy's eye. His dad and I went to high school together, long before Conor was ever around. We went through all the different things together: surfing, motorcycles, windsurfing, all that stuff, and then, you know, then here's Conor. Try them all. Get one that you're comfortable with. Go out and have fun. You know, maybe get some basic instruction from someone that knows how, and it'll make it the whole learning curve a lot easier. But it's pretty easy to do on your own. And, you know, as soon as you find something that you like, get one. And then when you have your own equipment, you'll really start doing a lot more. And the more you do it, the more you'll like it, the better you'll feel, and the more you'll want to turn on all your friends that aren't doing it. I can tell you for sure that whenever you're feeling down, you know, or a little blue, a little depressed, a little weak, if you're near the ocean, but you don't want to go in because it's too much trouble, or it's windy and maybe a little cloudy and cold, or whatever, if you just get over that hump, force yourself to go in the ocean, you'll always feel better afterwards. Every time. Guaranteed. Going in the ocean will make you feel better. We don't have a shop, so you got to do what you can do.